2007, you leave Lagos,
Yes.
leave Nigeria to
Singapore.
Did you know anyone in Singapore?
No, I was young, and what's the worst that can happen? It didn't work out. You buy yourself, of course, a round trip ticket.
Yeah.
That's the
Just have an
insurance
return
right there.
ticket.
You can go back home, man. At least you give it a shot.
Hey, welcome back to Vybes N Visas with me, Charlie Karomi, and the one, the only, Martinz. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
Hey.
Yo, when you just left, you told us you spent a few weeks in Singapore. How long were you in Singapore?
About no, it's about 3 to 4 actually. 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months.
Because I moved out of the hotel at one point because the hotel was just...
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
3 to 4 months. You do not have a work permit.
I did not.
But you're finding jobs.
I'm trying to make some money. I'm in Nigeria, I'm a Lagos boy. I must make money, you know.
Love it. So you're hustling. You're hustling.
Yes, correct.
But then a time comes, you're like, I need to move on.
Yes, that's right.
So you say you're gonna do a homecoming tour, a grand tour before you go back.
If I head back home, yeah.
So from Singapore, you go to Vietnam.
Vietnam, yes.
How long do you stay in Vietnam?
I was in Vietnam for like 5 to 6 days, nothing too much.
Okay. Polite.
Very, very quick.
How was Vietnam?
Vietnam was fun for a single guy, young, who doesn't really have much to do or know anyone in Vietnam.
Yeah.
It was just whatever the day brings is what you do. I was in Saigon, which some call it Saigon, some call it Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh yeah, because they changed the name.
Yeah, it used to be Saigon, I think, and now they call it Ho Chi Minh. So I was in Ho Chi Minh. I can't remember the name of my hotel, but it was very close to the World Hotel, New World Hotel, very big hotel in the middle of Saigon. Anyways, that's where I was. Because of the location, there are clubs and bars and pubs and everything around. So there was nothing much for me to do than eat, sleep, go to the club at night, go back home, eat, sleep, and do it over again. And after like 4 or 5 days, you're kind of getting tired of it. And I was like, okay, you gotta keep moving on.
That's it. Thank you, Vietnam.
We gotta go. Thank you, Vietnam. I learned a few things in Vietnam, how to say hello, which is Xin chào.
Xin chào.
Xin chào.
That sounds like Chinese,
hello.
like ni hao.
Ni hao, thank you. That's
so xin chào.
Yeah, xin chào.
Well, today we're learning, guys.
Learning languages.
Xin chào.
Xin chào. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you answer? Do you just answer?
I have no idea. Really.
That's about as much as you learn.
I know they said xin chào, and at one point I learned emoy. I don't know what emoy really means. Maybe it means hello. No, it didn't mean emoy. You're calling someone, I think white man or black man, something like that. That I knew because people yelled at me on the street. So
you're like, yeah, that's me. Yes. That's me. Okay, so a week in Vietnam?
Week in Vietnam, off to Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh is the capital of Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Correct.
Cambodia still in
Southeast Asia.
Again, I'm not sure I can point out Cambodia
where it is?
In a map.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Cambodia is the next place that you spent quite a bit of time.
I spent quite a bit of time in Cambodia. Actually, the longest I was in Asia was in Cambodia.
How long?
I was there in total for 8 years. That trip was not how the 8 years started, but that trip was a life changer. That trip to Cambodia.
I love how you have a plan, but you're not too tied to it, because sometimes people go, no, the plan was this, but you have a plan, but when you see a path that goes this way and it feels right,
you just jump on it.
Because initially you were like, let me just dash into Cambodia, but then things happen.
Things happen. I had the visa 8 years. 8 years later,
Tell me about Cambodia.
Well,
what were you doing there? What happened?
From Vietnam to Cambodia, because of how close they are, you can take the bus. And I was single, I didn't have much money, so of course, no flights.
Yeah, take a bus, see the country.
Take the bus, see the country. I came in with a tourist visa for I think it was valid for a month. Yes, it was valid for a month. And the same thing I did in Vietnam was the same thing I was doing in Cambodia. I got a hotel, always downtown. Don't forget that anytime you travel, go downtown. That's where everything happens.
That's where the action is.
Everything is downtown.
Okay.
So always downtown. And then of course go to club, which is what I did. But this is where everything changed. One night, I think the second or third night, I was there, and someone recognized me. Because
Are you a celebrity now?
because I was very popular in high school. Maybe because I was always in trouble. Everyone knew my name. So let's just put it that way.
You are the name the principal always
the
said,
principal.
And the list of bad behavior people this week.
Well, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Every teacher in my class, I was always on your top 3, if you look at the academics. But if you also look at the troublesome one, I'll probably be in the top 3 as well. So I was
Love
kind of,
it.
you know.
You study hard. You study
I
hard.
play hard. Oh yes, I knew I play hard. And so anyway, this person recognized, but he wasn't sure if that was me or if that was not. So instead of calling my name, or I don't even know if he knows my name or if he remembered my name, there's something we say. The school I went to, the high school, we have this saying, up school. When we go to play soccer with another school, we say, yeah, up school. So the guy yelled, up school.
And of course,
I looked around like, that's not possible.
In the middle of Cambodia.
Right? And I read, up school. And the lady came and said, yeah, I was thinking that must have been you. Wait. And we shake hands, we hug. What are you doing here? I am traveling. I'm probably on my way back to Lagos. I don't know. He was working in Cambodia at that point. And so, of course, we sit somewhere and we talked. What are you doing? Why are you here? When are you going back? Like, you know, the ultimate plan was to come abroad and live abroad. But Singapore wasn't working out, so I'm just doing this to spend my money and head back home. What did he say? Well, of course, I was a top kid, top 3, right?
And he remembers that. This is a smart guy.
He knows, yeah. So he was like, oh, I'm sure you can get a job. And at that point, Cambodia was doing the work permit thing, but employers can still give you jobs without the work permit.
Okay.
So he said, okay, based on that, do you have your resume? Of course I don't. So the next morning, we both woke up, went to a cafe, internet cafe, paid like $10, soup up a quick resume, blah, 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 printed out, gave it to him. He went to submit it for me. I didn't have a phone number in Cambodia. My Singaporean phone number wasn't working. So what did he do? He put his phone number. Guess what? They called him and say, okay, you come for an interview? Great. I went for the interview and I left. I went for the interview, everything worked out. Then I left Cambodia. Oh, this is me saying, okay.
You left Cambodia?
Oh yeah, I left Cambodia at one point. This is me saying, okay, I'm leaving Cambodia, I'm heading to Malaysia, which is next. Oh, Bangkok was next on my list because they're all
you're still
close
in
to
the
each other.
homecoming tour.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But on my trip to Bangkok, he called me because of how Bangkok was so close to, Thailand was close to Cambodia, you can also take the bus. But then he called me and said, hey, they think you will get a job. When can you start? And I said, you gotta tell them I cannot start now. My stuff is still, because when I left the hotel in Singapore, I had to sign like a rental month to month, so it's cheaper, way cheaper. So well, my stuff is still in Singapore. I can't just start working. They said, okay, I'll call you back. And then he did everything. Said, okay, they think you're me, but they said if you can start in 2 weeks. I said yes. In fact, you know what? I can start in a week. As soon as I landed in Poi Phet, which was the border town, small town between Cambodia and Bangkok, I was looking for tickets back to Singapore.
Yo.
I know.
Wait, hold on. I have so many questions. What was the job?
Oh, it was a teaching job, ESL.
Oh, English as a second language.
As second language, that's right.
Okay.
So that was the job. It was, in fact, it was not even full time. It was like 2 classes a day. Each class is 1 hour, so it's just 2 hours a day.
But it's a job.
I will take it. Like, if this is gonna keep me going, I think it was maybe 10 or 15. I think it was $10 or $12 an hour. Like something really small.
Give me.
But I'll take it. And this guy said, you can stay at my place. I know you don't have anything. I said, yeah, I'll make it work. So yeah, that was how everything, from that moment, everything changed. I got to Cambodia late night. I was sitting outside. My friend was late to come pick me up. This was, if you look at YouTube now and you look at the Cambodian airport, it's pretty nice, well done. But back then, when I got there, oh man. You know, I looked around like, wow, do you really want to live here? Coming here as a tourist is different. Now when you come, this is it.
Yeah.
This is where you're gonna be. I looked at it, what should I do? Should I take this job? Should I not? Should I just go home? everything was going through my head at that point. Right from when the plane was coming down, we were looking down like,
You're
wow,
like,
this place is, wow. But you know what? Something in me was not gonna just go home and say I tried and didn't work. No, you have a job waiting, so you gotta make this work.
So how did you're teaching ESL a few hours a week.
That's right.
How did you end up staying 8 years?
8 years.
Cambodia?
You know, if there's anything I would say to anyone is whatever you do, you gotta put your heart in it. If it comes from here, it doesn't matter if people speak your language. If they don't, they understand you. People will see it, and you get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And I think that was one thing I am grateful for. That I knew this is it. This is the job I get. It's just 2 hours a day. You do it like nobody else has done it before. You do it like when you're done, they will remember that name. That when this guy was here, he was, and that was what I did. And I think within the first 2 months, I got given more classes because the 2 I got was doing well, and the school supervisor said, "I think you deserve more." And then before you knew it, from 2 classes, 2 hours a day to full time, I was making good money as a single guy. I had my own place, so I bought my car. You just establish yourself that way. It's just, don't forget, I met guys within my first month in Cambodia who actually arrived after I arrived. They stayed for like a month or 2, wasn't working, they bought their ticket and went back. At least 2 or 3. And they will ask you, why are you still here? You don't speak the language, you don't understand the culture. The food, there's no Nigerian food, there's nothing, it's just, that's it. But, you know, you make it work. I've seen food that people go like, why? I can't even eat it, it doesn't smell good. I'm like, what, you guys eat it and you're not dead yet? Let's try it.
If these guys are humans and they
can eat this, let's go for it. And that was it. And before you knew it, in a year or 2, that city, Phnom Penh, I call it my city, my life. I knew that city in and out. I had local friends. I was just...
What's your mom saying back home?
Mom knew I was traveling. She just did not accept that I was gonna stay.
Oh, she thought you were just doing like
do
a
your
tour
thing,
and
come back home. But when it was becoming clear that this young man is not planning to come home anytime soon, this mom, of course, like every mom, started getting worried.
Yeah.
And we'll call every now and then.
What's my
boy
boy
doing?
doing?
Eating?
Yeah.
What are you doing? How's life? How is this? Are you coming? And I made it clear, I'm not coming. This is it for me. And of course, I'll call my sister, who would talk to my mom. It was not as easy as it is now, because I remember I would send her pictures of me, but I had to take a picture, put it on my email, now attach it and send the email to my sister, who would print the picture and then give it to my mom.
It's a whole chain.
The whole, like that. And
you couldn't just WhatsApp her. WhatsApp didn't exist.
Oh, at that point, I don't even know if I had a Nokia phone that I bought from Nigeria. So I don't think we had WhatsApp or anything on it. Exactly. You know, this Nokia phone still had keypads and everything, and a small colored screen. That was what I had then.
But that's so sweet of your mom, because that's a mom. Your mom is worried. She's like, oh, what's my boy doing?
Is he coming back? What is he up to? And my sisters were, keep in mind, this is the first guy traveling in the family of 5 kids. So everyone was saying, hey, what's going on? How is the place? How is the food? How is the culture? How is this? How is the weather? How is the language? And I was just going along with the flow. The language I don't understand, but you know what? We'll make it work. All you need to know is learn the street language. The hellos, how are you? The $2, no. What about $5? You know, the taxis, all that small stuff.
And you learn as you go.
You just learn as you go. I think it's more of, it doesn't matter what you do in life, if you're only focused on the goal. Somehow it will work. If you focus on everything else, you'll see that 1 million reasons why it's not gonna work. And then you give up and go home.
Focus on the one.
But for me, it was just, I am set to live abroad, and I'm gonna live abroad. And here we are today.
Today we're in Canada.
Yes.
And the story about Cambodia, if we were to talk a little about Cambodia, you spent 8 years, we'll be here for 20 hours.
That's so long.
We'll be here till next week. You came back. You came to Canada to start a family, to raise your kids in Canada with your wife. Did you guys meet in Cambodia?
We met while I was in Singapore, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had a friend in Nigeria.
Yeah.
If you notice, I think the first part I said I was a typical Nigerian church boy, which means I go to church, I go home, and I go to work.
Oh, you actually, like in Singapore, you found a church?
I found one. I went there a few times, not much. For me, church is very important. Sunday mornings, you can't argue. We have to go to church. And God has blessed me so much that I played a few instruments, and I always want to play.
What instruments?
I play the keyboard, I play the drums, I play what we call the local conga. So those, at least between any church you go, there will be a drum and a keyboard. So I can fit it somewhere, right? And so this person in Nigeria was like the sound engineer, and I was the drummer.
Yeah.
So he was my friend, right? And so by the time I was planning to leave Nigeria, he was also planning to leave. And he left, I think, to Holland when I went to Singapore. But for some reason, he connected with someone in Japan. And I went to Japan to see him.
When did you go to Japan?
While I was in Singapore. That was part of it too.
Is the Japan trip leading to you meeting your wife? Okay, let's follow it. Let's follow it. So you went to Japan?
Yeah, I was there for like a week. And I met her. It was the days of AOL, Yahoo Messenger. And there was this one, Hotmail Messenger.
Yeah.
Because that was the only way we could connect.
Yeah.
And that's all we could exchange.
Did you guys meet in church or?
It was casual meet. It was more of we're hanging out for the night, and you say, "Oh, here's my friends. Oh, okay, here's my friend. Okay, hi, how are you? My name's Emily. Hey, my name's Martinz. Okay, nothing."
And she used to live in Japan?
Yes, she was in Japan. She was doing missionary in Japan then, and we just exchanged. Okay, we talk. So now, by the time I go back to Singapore and doing my world tour, I wasn't thinking of a girl in Japan.
Like you just met.
I was trying to figure out my life. But at least once in a while, you say hi, you chat, she reply hi, okay, great. But when I settled in Cambodia is when I said, okay, let me now pursue this, right? And then of course we chat. I remember, right?
There was this girl, she's still on my mind now.
It's in my mind. So now we pursued it, and then we chatted. Now we chatted for like a year or two, continuously, almost all the time. We chat. Talk about work. Don't forget, these are two foreigners living in foreign countries. So if you have a different experience in Japan, I'll have a different experience in Cambodia. And we would say, oh yeah, Japanese are like that. Yeah, Cambodians are like this. Yeah. So we talked like that for a while. And then her contract in Japan came to an end.
Yeah. So now she had to go back.
She had to come back to Canada.
Okay.
But so I don't know if I convinced her or I put in her mind like, hey, why don't you come to Cambodia?
On your way back, yeah.
Right,
like visit Cambodia.
We're both in Asia, you know, it won't cost you much. And she was, oh yeah, great, yeah. Or I don't know if it was me or she decided to do it, but somehow she came to Cambodia first. She spent maybe 10 days, I think, which was great because after that she left, came to Canada, and then finally moved to Cambodia.
My man.
Game changer, right?
You spent 8 years in Cambodia. When did she join you?
She joined me when it was around, I think, my third to the fourth year. Because together we were there for 4 years. Yeah.
And then what motivated, because I want us to go into the last part of you moving to Canada, and settling here. What motivated the move back to Canada? Like, were you guys expecting?
We had our first kid in Cambodia. We had a second one in Cambodia.
Yeah.
And they were both growing. And at that point, when you have 2 kids, you're already thinking it's time to settle. You need to find a place where you can, like they say, put your roots down, where your kids can actually grow up. And it's not like Cambodia is bad for kids growing up. It's just different. And the language was different and all that.
Culture is different.
The culture is different. But so if you, as a Nigerian, for example, trying to raise your kid the Nigerian way, but in a Cambodian setting, the culture will have influence on him. you will be fighting with that. You want a place where you can, you know.
Yeah.
And she, being my wife, I think because she's been away from home for so long, was just ready to go back home. And now, don't forget, now she's a mom of 2 kids.
Yeah.
Where she was a single traveling girl, it was fun. But if you're mom of 2 kids, and your mom, your auntie, your grandma, your sister,
they always want to see the grandkids. Yeah.
And there was nothing holding you back other than this husband that you're with. So it was time we started looking into it. For them, there was nothing holding them back. These kids were born in Cambodia, but they both had Canadian passports and all that. So it was easy go. But for me, I had to look at the paperwork and all that stuff. So paperwork took about 9 to 10 months to get. But everything went smooth. I got my PR right from there. And that was how we did not even negotiate where to go. It's just straight to Nanaimo.
Straight to Nanaimo.
That's where she knows everyone.
What year was that?
That was in 2016.
2016.
Yes.
I want us to take a pause there. Yo, this is a world. This is a world tour. Nigeria, Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia, a brief stint in Japan, and now we're heading to Canada. We're coming to the home stretch now. When we come back, you're going to tell me all about Canada, putting your roots down in Nanaimo, and any plans for the future. Okay?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yo, it's a hot episode. Vybes N Visas will be right back. Don't go nowhere.
And now my love for you is so strong.